गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। The whole world is conditioned by, limited by, under the influence of and existing in these two parameters, time and space. Yesterday we have seen this a bit. Today let us explore further. Once it happened, I was in Pittsburgh, and after my lecture was over, some people from the university had come, and he said, I spoke there about the truth, and then one of the persons said, Swami, your concepts are wonderful. I said, I spoke about the truth, not about the concepts. When the truth is understood by mind or intellect, it becomes a concept. When the truth is experienced, it is not a concept. For example, I am young, I am old, I am rich, I am poor, I am intelligent, I am dull-witted, I am smart, I am not smart. These are the concepts. But our existence that we experience every moment, even in the absence of the mind or the intellect or the sense organs, that experience of our being is not a concept. Concepts are liable to change. Like earlier the concepts of values were different, today they are different. Earlier the concept of lifestyle were different. Earlier we were talking about that you should spend only after saving of what you have earned. That was the concept in economics. Today it is the other way around. You should spend first and then earn. See? So every concept is subject to change. And all that is changing is under the limitation of time and space. And therefore, whenever we are talking about life, we, without our knowledge, get involved only in this frame of time and space. Therefore, today we will explore further what time is. Yesterday we saw space to some extent. How this space, from the gross space to the mental space to the conscious space we have entered, and after having entered the conscious space, there is no emptiness in life. When we are living in the gross space, Bhutakash, there is a lot of emptiness. When we are living in the mental space, Chittakash, there are a lot of imaginations and frustrations. But when we start living in the Chidakash, in the conscious space, there is no emptiness. This solid space experience is the ultimate, and then only we can transcend the limitations of the space. Now we go one step further with reference to the time. One day somebody was taking me for a lecture somewhere, a long drive, about an hour or so, and as usual people ask questions like the sweets attract the ants or the flies. I attract questions. So I am a questionable personality. And all those people who ask questions or doubts, they are doubtful personalities. So the doubtful and the questionable meet together and the discussions begin. So he asked me a question. He said, Swamiji, I am from such and such university and I teach physics. I said, hey, I don't know physics at all, anything. He said, no, I am not asking you questions about physics, but I want to ask your views according to scriptures. I said, about what? He said, we say physics and metaphysics. So you are a metaphysicist and I am a physicist. I said, okay, both of us are cis. This is better, common factor. Now the question was, according to you or your scriptures, when the world is created? I said, when you have asked this question, what are the notions which you have accepted in your mind? When a question is asked by somebody, when does this class begin? What it means? It means there was a time when this class was not. And now the class began at 5 p.m. So before 5 p.m. the class was not there. So when you ask this question, when the world is created, what do you presuppose? We presuppose that the world was not there. It was absent. And now your question is, when the world is created, that means the world has come into existence from its own absence. Can anything be born out of absence? See, out of absence nothing is created. Out of absence nothing is born. First fallacy in the inquiry. Now the second fallacy. When we say when the world is created, so a point when the world was not, and when the world will be destroyed, another point when the world will not be. So we are imagining that there is a point on the scale of time where there is a beginning and where there is an end. Then only beginning and end where exists, it is a straight line. It cannot be a circle. Like if we take this one object, so it begins here, it ends here, because it is a straight line. Now if I take a circle, circumference, now which is the point on the circumference or with reference to the circle, which is the beginning and which is the end? So when we think about time, we never think about time in terms of a straight line. We always think about time in terms of the Kala Chakra, the wheel of time. See? And this wheel of time is so evident. You must have seen sometime when you go towards Mathura side, on the road sides or everywhere it is written, Jai Gurudev. And then Satya Yuga aayega. That Satya Yuga will come. So once I was going by train, somebody showed me that. Swamiji, do you believe in this? I said, keep it pending for some time. I'll ask you a question, you reply that. I said, what is the day today? He said, today is Sunday. I said, I profess. Monday aayega. Tomorrow will be Monday. Do you believe in me? What is there to believe? After Sunday, Monday only comes. I said, hey, you are a damn intelligent person. Like there are 7 days in a week, there are 4 yugas in a Chaturyugi. The first is the Satya Yuga, then Treta, then Dwapara, then Kali Yuga. After Kali Yuga, what will come? Naturally Satya Yuga. Oh, it is so simple. I said, it is still simpler than that. Not like that. we all recognize time only as a circle. It is not a straight line. Therefore, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, again Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, this goes on and on and on. There can be only 9, 11 ones. But Sunday, Mondays are many. Today is also 9, 11, isn't it? So, Sunday, Mondays are plenty of them. So, when we think of time, we always think of time in terms of a circle. So, weekdays are in circle. Then the months January, February, March, December, again January, February, March, April, it goes on and on. So, when the time is not a straight line, this question, when the world is created, that means you have to find out what is the point where from time began. Now the question is, on the circle, circumference, which is the point, which is the beginning, and which is the point, which is the end? It's a very beautiful experience. The beginning of the circumference and end of the circumference is at the same point. And the same points are of two types. That same point is an imaginary point anywhere on the circumference, or the same point is other than the circumference. Which is other than the circumference? The center. So, with the center, a particular radius, we draw a circle. So, the center point is the beginning of the circumference and the center point is the end of circumference. So, where is the time now? The time is calculated as a circle, but it is a point. It is not a circle. And that point is independent of the circle. For example, if you take the center point, pivot, and draw a circle with a radius of 2 inches, then the same point, another circle, a radius of 3 inches, and go on multiplying. So that one center will be able to support hundreds and millions of circles, yet not getting influenced by any one of them. That point, which is supporting all the circumferences, that point is the self, the reality. So, when we talk about time, which is in circles, which is not a straight line, and then we ask a question, when the world is created, so that question itself becomes wrong, because there can never be a time which has a beginning, which has an end. What passes through is the finite amount of time. What is the infinite time. So, when I was talking to him in terms of these two objections about creation, can we imagine there was never a time when there was no creation? Can we imagine that there will be a time when there will not be a creation? Both are only imaginations, cannot be experienced. Similarly, when we imagine that the world is created at a particular time, we have accepted prior non-existence. And when we say there will be a final destruction of the world, we are imagining the posterior non-existence. And therefore, from the non-existence, the present existence has come out. It is absurd. Therefore, whenever the question of creation comes in, the main objection is, never there was a time when there was no creation. Never there was a time when there was no destruction. Because creation and destruction is a continuous process. It is not in blocks. See, most important is this. And we go one step further. When we have to say something about this world, we put forward some hypothesis, not a thesis, hypothesis. And in that we imagine how the world is created. Like in biological sciences, when they do not know the reason, they call it as allergy. Allergy means what? I don't know. How to accept one's own ignorance? So the word allergy is a justified word to tell I do not know. Similarly, how the world is created then? Then the theories are propounded. Big Bang theory. Now, Big Bang. Can there be a Big Bang without two things? If only one hand is there, there cannot be a bang. A bang requires somebody's face along with the hand, and then there can be a really bang. Only hand cannot create a bang, and only face cannot create a bang. And when we say that the world is created with a big bang, that means two things are colliding with each other. Out of that the world came out. Which are those two things? Those two things itself are the world. So, when we do say we don't know, or the black hole theory, another theory is there, black hole theory. So, these are all the imaginations proposed. But the truth is, unless this time factor is clearly understood, this world will keep on tossing us from left to right. Therefore, what this time is now, and what this world is, when the world is created and when the world disappears. Now this inquiry we take up. See, when we are in deep sleep, our identification with our gross body is zero. When we are not identified with the gross body, we have no place, we have no time, we have no gender, we have no qualification, and in that there is only one experience of homogeneous bliss, which we remember after we wake up. So when this world is created, the world is created the moment the mind gets identified with the body. From that moment onward, the world is created. When we say word means what? It is our experience. Without the experience, nothing is proved. Like for example, if we take a photograph of a person from 3 angles. I was in somebody's house one day, one photograph I saw, a very huge tall girl. I said, hey, who is this? The face seems familiar, but such a tall person, who is she? So the girl whose photo was that, she started laughing. Swami, this is my photograph. I said, you are so shorty, how can you become tall? Then her father told, no Swamiji, I had taken the photograph from the lower angle. So when you look at an object from a lower angle, your perception gives a totally different picture. When you look at the same object from the higher angle, even the tall person becomes a shorty. Correct perception will be when you are at the eye level. In the same manner, when you look at the world will be perceived, experienced by us depending on the angle with which we are looking at the world. When we hear this statement, the world is too much for me. What do we mean by this statement? Do we mean, oh, there is too much of space and the air and the fire and the water and the smell in this world? We don't say that. When I say the world is crushing me down, that doesn't mean all the space is coming and falling on your head. No. So when we say about the world and the problems of the world, we mean our experiences of this world. And what are the experiences? Where they are gathered? All these experiences are gathered by us only on the mind. So mind is the platform where the world is existing, and when the world is created the moment the mind gets identified with the gross body. From then onward, the whole world comes into existence. See? Yesterday when I came, I was so tired, and when I slept, just like that, like a wooden log, I didn't know also when I slept, I even didn't bolt my room. Somebody did it from outside. And when I got up in the morning, 4:30, I was not able to orient myself where I am, which side is the bathroom, where I had to go, where is the switch, where is the water bottle. Nothing was oriented. And after some time, then, hey, I think I am in Pilani and I have come here for the talks, and morning 6 o'clock is meditation class. Then the whole world came into being. So, the world is created when the mind becomes identified with the gross body. And when the mind becomes identified with the gross body, then alone a sequence can be established. And when that sequence is illumined by the light of this mind, then that sequence creates the concept of time. See? And the concept of time is a scale of time. So this concept of time is evaluated by the scale of time. Let us put it this way. Therefore, the dream that we dream is hardly for a minute or two. But in that a minute or two dream, we see days and months together. Is it not? So the time scale on which we operate in the dream and the time scale on which we operate in the waking state, these time scales are different. But the time is the same. See, the scale and the object which is measured by the scale, they are different from each other. When I say 1 liter, 1 liter is the measurement. Now the water or the milk or the kerosene, these are the objects, and they are infinite. What is measured, that much only is finite. Because we measure 1 liter of milk, that doesn't mean that the milk is only 1 liter in the whole world. So what we understand by the word time is the measurement of time, and measurement of time is only a scale, imagination. Internationally accepted illusion is measurement. Is it not? Internationally we decide. Like earlier in our country, many of you may not be even knowing, some of you will be knowing, our 1 rupee used to be divided into 64. That is the most scientific way of dividing. But then we got into the metric system. So the rupee remains the same. Now it has become 100 paisa, and therefore Naya paisa. Where from that Naya paisa, new has come only because the old one was 64 only. So when we are imagining 100 parts or 64 parts in that 1 rupee, these fractions are imaginary, but 1 rupee is a unit. In the same manner, that time is infinite conscious reality that we are, and in that we, the conscious absolute reality, that mind goes on creating imaginations of fractions. And these imaginations of fractions start influencing the whole world around us. Therefore, when we have to conquer time, when we have to win over the time, only one thing we have to understand, that the time will destroy me, trouble me, only when I have come in the clutches of the measurement of time. So what I had to do? I had to discover my own correct identity. Am I the one who is influenced by the time, Or am I the time who is influencing everything? See what a difference it will make. In the 11th chapter, when Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am the time, and here ready to consume the whole world. Are we not doing the same thing every day? So many things have come and gone, but we are the same, unchanged reality. The childhood has come, gone, then the teenage has come and gone, and then the young adult age has come and gone, then not so old has come and gone, I think old has come and gone, now to really old has come, and in all these experiences of different ages, there is one reality which has no experience of having grown. None of us have an experience that we are growing, we are born, or we die. This experience of ours, we don't have to believe. None of us have this experience of birth, or growth, or death, or decay. But we are all experiencing these things with reference to the body and the world around. And therefore, the moment we correct our identity, so when I say I, what do I mean by the word I? So when I say, of course I am a man, means what? Body. When I say I am extremely hungry, means the pranamaya kosh. When I say I am sentimental, means I am identified with the mind. When I say I am intelligent, identified with the intellect. And all these identifications keep on changing. And according to the changes, we imagine that I am also changing. In fact, we never have an experience of change at all, but we have illumined all the changes around us. Therefore, when we have to understand time, time begins from the center that I is, and this I, the center, alone is supporting the circumference of experiences, and this circumference carrying the experiences, they keep on changing, but the I remains the same. Once this correct identity is arrived at, the problem and the persecution by time will be over. Now see how the time persecutes us. You get up in the morning and just sit. Do nothing. Physically you may not do anything. The mind will start. The only example I can imagine is when we are all by ourselves sitting doing nothing, or on the seat of meditation. You know what is the condition? The condition is you are building material carrying old truck which does not start with a starter. Therefore, once it is started, you don't switch off. Now that truck has gone and come across a red signal and stops there. Now that time you don't want to switch off, again it won't start. So what do? You keep it running. But it doesn't move. In the same manner, we simply sit. Inside, outside the truck is standing. And inside, but why the people are like that? I think. And when that thinking becomes violent, it starts affecting our postures. All kinds of, like the swara and the tala starts coming out. Actually, it is asura and betala. It starts coming out. What is the reason? The reason is the mind does not keep shut. Why? The moment the mind will keep shut, it will disappear. Mind has to live on the fuel of the time and the space. The moment the concept of time and space is eradicated, the mind has nothing to live on or nothing to live for. Therefore, as I mentioned in the class yesterday probably, when we are really wanting to attain the ultimate in our life, what is ultimate in our life? Only one thing, and that is the experience of total freedom, the experience of absolute love, the experience of accepting everything without getting influenced by anything. That is the ultimate experience we all are seeking for. Now that experience can be had only when we get out of these two parameters of time and space. So to get out of the impact of time, only one way. Discover that you are the time who is illuminating and establishing the sequence and the birth of time. Therefore, as Nachiket says, Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. Now I will tell you further how this time is creating havoc in our life, whether it is religious life or non-religious life. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat. Anyatra asmat kruta krutat. Anyatra bhutatcha bhavyatcha. Yat tat pashyasi tadvad. This is an address, a question asked by Nachiket to the Lord of Death, Yamaraj, in Kathopanishad. Now see the question. How long can we be deceived and cheated by the so-called religious people that you should do this thing right here, this is wrong, if you do this thing wrong, you will go to heaven, you do this thing right, you will go to heaven, and if you want to go to heaven, do this yajna, do this karma, do this charity, or else you will be eternally going to hell. So all that they talk about is only the dharma, adharma, dharma, adharma. And thereby we are caught in the web of time. One method of catching us. Second method, anyatra asmat kruta krutat. When somebody is able to get out of these dharma, adharma, sin and merit, he doesn't care. Okay, who cares? I don't care. Okay, now this fellow is intelligent fellow. The intelligent people are to be caught intelligently. So they are told the cause and effect. Principle is the same. Now what is the cause and effect? See, something happens to you and because of which you are miserable or happy. Do you think it is just happening like that? There has to be cause, isn't it? Now you are happy, isn't it? Yes, I am happy. Do you know why? Why? Because you got your increment. Oh yes, that's true. So an intelligent person starts thinking cause and effect is the reality. And he gets caught up into cause and effect. And what is cause and effect? Cause is in the prior period of time and effect is in the later period of time. And whole life we spend only on establishing cause and effect, and therefore or because of this I am happy, because of that I am unhappy. As long as our happiness is causal, we are not freely happy. Again, impact of time. And the third thing, bhutaccha bhavyaccha. We all the time think in terms of past and the future. And this thinking with reference to past and future create a terrible legacy of tragedy in our life. Now this is very important topic, be very attentive. Whenever we talk to anybody, we talk always about our past up to this point. I was there, I had done this thing, and then I finished my graduation, and then I finished my post-graduation, then I finished my doctorate, and then I thought what to do, why not deceive others and make them also study, and by that my time will pass. Isn't it? So, like that you go on talking about your past. You ask somebody this question. Once I conducted this experiment. I was going by train, and I was, doing my japa. Japa is a technique which can protect you from others. So one person sitting in front of me, he started, "Oh Mahatma ji, very good. I am very happy that I am seeing you. Come on, our time will pass nicely." That means he wants to take me for a ride. So I thought, now how to keep this fellow engaged? So I told him, look here, I am doing my japa, so I will not talk, but please tell me about yourself. So he will not talk to me, so I am happy, and he will talk about himself, which I will not listen. I have got a selective hearing capacity. So he started. Swami, it so happened, in 1852, my great-grandfather, he was so poor and he used to sell this horse gram in Kabul, Kabuli chana. That means now he is going to talk for last 3 generations. And then this happened, then that happened, and then they migrated to Karachi and Peshawar, and then this happened in 47, the country was divided, and then we were all orphans, nothing, and then we somehow managed to come alive, and then we came and settled in Bombay, and then this happened, then I got married, and then I had 6-7 children, and then this thing, then I did this business, and by God's grace everything became alright, and then I had a terrible stroke, and because of that, I became very weak. So my children told, why don't you get out from here, go to Delhi, it's a good climate, Bombay is a humid climate, you will suffer here. And therefore they put me into the train, and in between I used to give him a chabi. No interest, but the moment you encourage, he will start, as if I got great interest in him. And then he started with awe, because what he was talking was his experience of the past. To talk our experience of the past, you don't have to prepare. You get inspired rather, because when you start reliving your own past. So he started, and then they put me in this train, and then I met you, and then I asked you something, and then what happened? Then you asked me to talk about me, and then the moment you come in the present, your mouth becomes shut. Mind cannot have a single thought when it reaches the absolute present. So to conquer time, one of the important methods is that we delete our past as we delete our emails after reading or even without reading. I get hundreds of them. So one person asked me, "Swami, you get so many emails, how do you reply them?" I said, there is nothing to think or reply. You read, if the email is 3 pages wrong, simply write SM2U. This is my abbreviation of SMS language. SM means same, 2 and U. So SM2U, tag. And after that, delete. Don't carry the load. In the same manner, if we start deleting our total past, and every experience that we live, it goes away. And in the present, when there is nothing to talk about, there is only presence. Presence is time absolute. Present creating the past, creating the future is the imagination of the divided time. It is not actually. Therefore, it is called as tense. So, whenever we are living in the past, in the future, we are tense. Isn't it? So, our whole life is only life of tensions because we are living in tenses. Forget about the tense and start living in the presence. You have conquered the time. See how from the objective understanding of the imagination of the time to the subjective experience that the time absolute is, this journey is called as the spiritual life. And when we thus understand this basic principle, that all the past is only memory, not the experience. Before I go to future, we'll go still more about the past, the time, the concept. One day I was sitting with some of the old students. We had a nice lunch in some big hotel in Bombay. And after all that was over, it was a rare occasion for these hotel people to see that one Swami has come and along with him a dozen or two Babaji, another Babaji have come, and like a corporate we had a nice lunch and all that, and all formalities, everything was over. And then we were sitting with ice cream. I said, hey, come on, tell me some of your experiences, everyone. You learned so many things and went away, taste experiences. So everybody started telling something or the other. I had this experience when I went there. Then I had the best experience when I went with Swamiji to Kailash. The other say I had best experience with Swamiji. Everybody talking about their experiences. And then I said, very good. Now we part. I said, no. You tell about your experience. I said, okay. I being a teacher, I will find out your faults. You know, a proofreader never reads a book. He is all the time taking the pencil in the hand. Just now Tapas gave me some printout of my camp which they did on the computer. The moment he brought, only the mistakes I can see. What is good I cannot see. Fat, take the pencil, this wrong, like that. So I said I am a teacher, so I will tell the mistakes. What is that? I said, you all spoke about your memories of the experience. Memories are always of the past which is dead and gone. And when we live in memories of the past, we are divorced from the present. And when you are divorced from the present, you are living only in imagination. Is it not many of the people who are depressed, dejected, they are all the time carrying the memories of the past. Like, elderly people. When they interact with the youngsters, how they interact? They interact with the load of the mind on their past. During our time, we were not like this. Today's children are like that. During our time, ladies never used to go even to the hotel. These days, ladies go even to the beauty parlor. During our time, we used to go to the school without the shoes. These days, children want 6 pairs of shoes per month to be bought. Constantly talking about the present, talking about the past, and the whole life is wasted only in the past. Friends, as long as we are living in the dead past, we are insulting the beautiful present. Insult of the beautiful present is punished by being isolated from the totality. Many people have this problem, that they feel isolated, they feel lonely. Why they feel lonely? Because they are constantly talking about their past. We forget. Nobody is interested in our past. Everybody is worried about their future. But the impact of time is so much on us that we just cannot delete. Therefore, friends, to conquer time and to go beyond the impact of time, let us understand this past is the one aspect of time which is constantly persecuting us, and as a result, we are not able to progress. Progress is possible only when you have the ability and the guts to reject the past and go ahead. Unless we have rejected the childhood, we cannot get into the adolescence. Unless we have rejected the adolescence, we cannot get into the grown-up age. In the same manner, if we really want to get out of the impact of time, let us understand very important thing, that the past experiences become load if we are not learning from them. And if we have learned from our past experiences, we grow wise. And if we are not learning from the past experiences, only carrying the load of the impression of the past experiences as memories, we grow old, not wise. See the impact of time. And therefore, it is extremely necessary that whenever we think of time, it is in the totality of time, that our total past is destroying or creating our present. Therefore, how do we deal with our past? Only there are two ways. One way is we learn from our past and grow wise. Second thing, we delete our past, never bring our past in the present. When these two principles are strictly followed, we are slowly coming out of the impact of past in our life or the impact of time. And this total past itself is called technically as the ego. What is the meaning of an ego? Ego means my total experiences till date. And the sign of the ego is, stronger the ego, more miserable is the person. Stronger the ego, more easily vulnerable he is to the difficulties. Stronger the ego, more attention is sought from the world. Now apply this principle. A child is having a very short past. An old person is having a very long past. Therefore, a child is naturally happy and an old person is naturally unhappy. And for every small little things, the insults, the hurt, being discarded, not being honored, not being consulted, all these problems come when the past is extremely long. Therefore, what is the best way of living? If we want to live in the present and get out of the impact of this ego poison in our system, the only way is, let us learn to be in the present all the time. And when you are in the present, let us be matching with the present. We should not become an abnormality in the present situation. See, the other day I was somewhere with all my machines. So when I was sitting and I do my CD burning and everything. So one person came, he said, "Hey, you are a peculiar Swami." I said, "Yes, I am peculiar Ananda." He said, "No, you don't feel bad when I call you." I said, "No, you call me abuses. The question is, you may abuse me, but do I accept it? When you talk nonsense, my mobile phone is off. You feel that you are talking, but I kept it aside. I am not listening." The question is, are we getting influenced by the world or not? If we are not getting influenced by the world, we are perfect match in every present situation. Friends, A person who can be available in the present situation according to requirement, he alone is evolving. The best example I can think of is a small sapling. When it is growing, let us take a peepal tree or a mango tree or a margo tree. When it is growing, we keep some kind of steel protection so that the animals don't put their head and eat it away. And when that tree grows, as we are very methodical, we never think of removing after some particular age. It remains there. If it is not taken away by somebody, it remains there. And then slowly the tree starts growing and the steel around it doesn't grow. It remains the same. Then what happens? That strong, ungrowing, unchanging, unmodifying steel is consumed by the tree and it disappears. In the same manner, if we have to get out of the impact of time, what is important is that we are able to match ourselves with the present situation. And if we are able to match with the present situation, we have to discard the earlier. This metamorphosis, this ability to change without getting influenced by the time is called as the spiritual growth, the spiritual attainment. Then alone we are conquering the impact of time. Such people, with the addition of every day in their life, with the gathering of every additional experience in their life, they grow wise. And the sign of the wise person is Gatasu na gatasuscha nanu shochanti panditaha. Wise are those who do not grieve, those who are not frustrated, those who have no complaints to offer about anything in this world, those who are immune to insults, those who cannot be corrupted by anything in this world. They are the wise people. Therefore, when we are growing in our life, if we really want to make best use of our life, let us grow wise and not old. Old people are unwanted in this world. Wise people are most in demand in this world. And the most funny part is, the old age and wisdom have nothing to do anything with each other. See? Therefore, all these factors put together is the impact of time and how we conquer the time. Now, when we start living in the present, do not bring much of the past in the present. We start leading a life of absolute light existence. When you are living lightly, as they say, travel light. So, in this journey of life, when we are traveling lightly means what? We are not carrying the load of ego on our head. We are not carrying the load of our past on our head. Whenever we carry any load on our head, we can't smile. The best example I can think of is these small kids, laborers, hardly 10-12 years of age. We put on the railway station, etc., a huge luggage on their head. Let us take 1 or 2 NRI suitcases. When the NRIs come to India, they know that in India nothing is available. Therefore, they bring everything, right from tissue paper up to everything. Because nothing is available in India, Third world, never developed country. So, huge suitcases they come. And then they will keep those suitcases on the head of their small urchins. And that poor fellow is balancing and going. That time you stop and tell him the best joke of the year. Will he smile? He cannot, because he is carrying the load on his head. See, the other day I received a joke. I received a lot of jokes, hundreds of them. Sometime I read, sometime, most of the time I delete. That day I read. And that was the joke about the Sardars. There is one category of jokes exclusively on Sardars. And this one which I am telling you was the best of all I liked. You know, the Sardars end their name in Singh. Like Ekka Singh, Dukka Singh, Hajara Singh, Thousanda Singh, some kind of thing, and add Singh afterwards. Now that joke tells, Singh means what? S stands for Sardar, I stands for Insan, N stands for Nahi, G stands for Gadha, H stands for Hai. Now, after I read that, I said, hey, what this fellow is writing? Another joke. Sardar is not a person, it is a state of mind. Now tell me, if a person is carrying a tremendous load of worries, frustrations, insults, logic, failure, disrespect, isolation, loneliness, will he ever be able to enjoy such a beautiful joke? He will say, what is there to laugh? The whole world is full of frustration. Look at me. Did I laugh? I am born to frustrate. Why do you laugh? And if you laugh, they become more frustrated. You know, the funny part of this world is, you know, God has created this world out of fun, no purpose. And therefore, what if you want to have fun? You cannot have matches, you have always mismatches. Then the fun goes better. So when the husband and the wife are brought together by the God, they are always mismatched. There is nothing like correct match. The only mismatch is perfect. So when these two are there, out of the two, one is a Kumbhakarna or Kumbhakarni, and other one is not getting the sleep at all. So when suppose the wife is a Kumbhakarni, so she goes to the bed, and by the time she hits her head to the pillow, she is snoring away comfortably. And his hubby, he is not getting sleep. Then he gets angry. And the more he gets angry, comfortably she is snoring. Because she is already sleeping. And you know, those who snore, they are never in a hurry. Have you seen anybody snoring? Kar, 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 kar. No. They snore slowly. Kar. And then kar comes. And this man goes, hey, stop that. And he wake up. What happened? Why do you snore? I also don't know. So, a person who is miserable, disgusted, egoistic, failure, unclaimed, lonely, when he sees anybody happy, he becomes more miserable. See? What is the reason? Reason is carrying the load of our total past on our head. Friends, life is a celebration. It is not a calibration. Don't count. Don't see what you have got, what you don't have. What is important is how you are with what you have. And when this becomes the goal of our life, all your past is automatically deleted. And when you stop talking about your past, the next thing happens. You stop inquiring about anybody's past. Normally, if you see the conversations when they go, Todda Naki, what's your name? Where from you are? What is your, where were you earlier? Where from you are, and which village, and when you were born, why you were born, your parents are alive, still they are alive, you are married, not separated as it. Who told you? It goes on and on and on. Therefore, if you really stop indulging in your past, you will stop indulging in anybody else's past. As a result, you will be in the present. When you are only in the present, without the load of the past, you are extremely light. An extremely light mind, not carrying the load of the past, it has got Vitpannamati. Vitpannamati means intuitive knowledge, intuitive understanding. all these subtle discoveries are the result of this intuitive faculty. Intuitive faculty is that which is not under the influence of any prejudice in the past. And when this starts happening in our life, it doesn't matter where you are, space, what age you are in, time. It makes no difference. You are eternally young and living every moment in that bliss of your own being, which has never been corrupted by the influence of time and space. So when we slowly understand the meaning of time in this light, we come to the following conclusion. Time is infinite, eternal, indestructible. What passes through is the measured time, and that measured time has no existence apart from the absolute time. And when that absolute time I am is discovered, none of the things of this world ever will influence me. This is the meaning being eternally young, because the time can no more influence such a person. Now, when we have thus lived, totally deleting the past and living in the present, then there is nothing for us to worry about the future. Who worries about the future? Who is carrying the load of the past? He alone keeps on worrying about the future. I don't know what is going to happen to this country, what is going to happen to this nation. We go on imagining. What has happened so far? Nothing has happened. Nothing will happen. Many of us have got this funny notion that, this world, I don't know where it is going to be. If you don't know, be happy. Why you worry about? We can worry with the training of the past. If you remain in the present, you will stop migrating away from yourself. Going away from yourself is the birth of time. Remain in that present and be cheerful and happy. Then you have conquered time. Now the other aspect of time, the future, we'll take in our future class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate